What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Thingos back for another video. And today what I wanted to do is talk about something. I gotta get that braid out the way. Today what I want to talk about is something that we've all kind of been wondering. At least, you know, fans of Invincible have been speculating and wondering about this. I know I've had a lot of questions regarding this topic, which is why I wanted to go ahead and get this video out of the way, saying my thoughts. And that is, what the hell is gonna happen with the Invincible War? Now, if you don't know, the Invincible War is this huge, spoiler alert by the way, it's this huge event that's probably going to happen maybe in season 2. I'm not sure, because the way that they went through a lot of the material in season 1, it kind of makes you wonder, like, how are they going to handle all of the material that they have to get through in season 2, and what material are they even going to choose to go through in season 2, how fast, what order, stuff like that. Because as comic book accurate as the first season was, they did switch a lot of stuff around. They had some arcs happen way earlier than they did in the comic. Most of that stuff that we got to see with him going to Mars, with the whole thing with Amber going to college in the Reanimin, the whole thing with Titan and Machine Head, like all of that stuff happens afterwards. It happens after Omni-Man reveals who he is, beats the shit out of Mark, and gets up out of there. So they did an excellent job with putting most of those arcs actually and like weaving them into the actual first season and have them happen as we kind of get up to the buildup of Nolan revealing himself as the villain, or at least at that point in time revealing himself as the villain. So I read this interview with Robert Kirkman where he mentioned these changes. I made a video about it before the season actually started, where he mentioned in the interview that he was going to be making changes to the animated series from the comic, and it's going to be changes that he felt like were either necessary or felt like it would make the story flow better with getting those particular arcs out of the way. He thought that a lot of stuff that he had happen would have made more sense to happen before Nolan made the turn versus afterwards. So that's what he did in season 1, and you know, we got to see how that worked out. Personally, I thought it worked out quite well. I know a lot of you still might have problems with how certain things were done in season 1 and stuff like that. So, you know, I know it's people that didn't think it was perfect or didn't like it all, you know what I'm saying? But I, for the most part, really enjoyed what they did with season 1, and you know, it's a lot of speculation and questions going on with season 2. If you haven't checked it out, I made an entire video, podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it, with my boy Cody a couple days ago, doing prediction discussion, talking about season 2. Really had fun with that. We have another one on the way with another guest speaker that will be joining us, so make sure y'all hit the bell to stay notified for that. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to do that, but it's going to be soon, so keep your eyes peeled. Shout out to you, Cody, too, man. You did a great job on the stream. Like making videos with you, bro. And you know, we got a lot more work to be done in the future. But yeah, man, so the Invincible War, it's an event that happens in the comic book around like the 40s or 50s, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. It might be a little earlier than that, to tell you the truth. But what happens is Angstrom Levi, the villain that we have been confirmed, Robert Kirkman actually confirmed that we are going to be getting him in future seasons, and he's definitely got to pop up in season 2. Like, he's probably going to be a main focus in season 2 with as much of an impact he has on Mark's life and vice versa. And as long as he's in the series, and you know, as much damage as he causes, he has to have like, and you know, with the way they did season 1, further expanding on so many characters, even the smaller characters in the rogues gallery that I didn't even think were much of a threat or didn't even, you know, like warrant a passing glance, you know what I'm saying? Like some guys that were just cannon fodder. They got so much more development, and they were more of a threat than they ever were because of how the showrunners and the, you know, the creators, they, you know, did respect to them. You know, they made them a whole lot better in the comic, I mean in the show, than they ever was in the comic. Best example of this would be Damien Darkblood. Even though he wasn't a villain, that's just an example of a character that they greatly improved upon from the comic. Debbie as well, you know what I'm saying? So with examples like that, you know, or maybe even smaller examples, just to show you like how they made characters that were not even that big of a deal in the comic much better. Machine Head, man, Titan, you know what I'm saying? So these are all examples of characters that they just made so much better in the animated series with just expanding on them, giving them a lot more to do, and overall just making them a whole lot more entertaining to watch and check out. So with Angstrom Levi already being a very entertaining, developed character and a character that has a lot to do in the comic, I'm super interested to see how they're going to expand upon that even further. There are a lot of aspects of his character that I feel like can be improved upon, mainly like his whole motivation for why he wants to kill Invincible, or why he hates him in the first place. I feel like that was done a little muddy in the comic book, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't read through that particular issue in a while, but I read through it a couple of times, and from what I remember, Angstrom Levi was kind of turned around. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a little confusing. Pretty sure it's his fault that he got fucked up, but he blames Invincible, and you know what I'm saying, that's not a big deal. That happens a lot in stories, but you just got to see how it was done, because at first he wanted to save his life, and then he ended up taking off the helmet during the process and fucking himself up. And then, like I said, I know I'm confusing y'all right now for people who haven't read the comic, but you just got to see this shit. Anyway, something happens where Angstrom Levi tries to do this experiment with the Mauler twins. I know they're going to make a joke about that, how the Mauler twins are constantly enlisted by people to make shit for them, because they did that in the first season with Robot, and they're going to do it again in the second season with Angstrom Levi. Similar conditions too. He's going to free them from prison, and he's going to ask them to help him create a machine that can help him put all the collective knowledge of all of his different extra, you know, like extra dimensional selves, because Angstrom Levi has the power to go through portals, to go through different dimensions and enter these different worlds. And there's multiple versions of Angstrom Levi in each and every one of these different dimensions. So what he does is he reaches in, he grabs all of his other selves, he brings them into one world, and he wants the Mauler twins to create this machine that can get all of the collective knowledge of his individual, you know what I'm saying, like different selves from these different worlds, and put them all in one head and one brain, and that's his. He wants to have the knowledge of every world, every dimension, and every different place that he can think of. That way it can be easier for him when he when he goes through a portal and enters a new world. He'll already know where he's going, and he already knows what's going on. And having that much knowledge crammed in his head, I'm pretty sure it drove him insane. I'm not sure if he's omnipresent or whatever, where he can kind of like predict things that are going to happen before they happen, because he has seen so many different versions of it. I remember Machine Head kind of like mentioned a power like that he had with that chip. I don't know if they're ever going to reintroduce that. I really don't even know if they're ever going to reintroduce Machine Head, because he was kind of like thrown to the side after that thing, after that, you know, scuffle that we saw in season 1. After that happened in the comic book, you really didn't see Machine Head again after that. I hope we do see him again, though. The guy has an excellent voice actor for him, and he did a great job. I forgot his name. The guy who starred in Burn Notice did his voice, and I really like Machine Head, so it'd be cool to see him come back. But he mentioned how he was able to kind of like see things that didn't even happen yet, or he kind of was able to predict things that would happen before they happened, which is how he knew Invincible and Titan was going to be there at that particular moment, and he prepared by getting those thugs there to beat their ass, mainly Battle Beast. But yeah, whole thing about that is it could easily happen with Angstrom Levi as well, with him having that, you know, just insane amount of knowledge crammed in his head from all these different dimensions. But on that note, with that power, how he can go in different dimensions and bring out, you know, like different versions of himself, he did that same thing and turned it on Invincible, thus starting the Invincible War, the event that this whole video is about. So when he got mad at Invincible, you know, he was really mad at him this time. I'm not even going to begin to explain the history leading up to this point. It'll take a little too long, and I'm already kind of rambling, but what happened was he was mad at Invincible yet again. This is kind of like Invincible's arch rival. Him and Angstrom Levi, they butt heads quite a bit, and he stays in the series for a while, like I said, and they constantly got to go back and forth. So I think he's going to be a very interesting character to introduce to the series. Get Phil Lamar to do his voice. If not, get whoever the fuck I thought he was when he was doing, whoever that black dude is in Castlevania that did the voice of Isaac, get him. I thought that was Phil Lamar for a second, but either get Phil Lamar or get him. Somebody got to turn up for Angstrom Levi, bro, because this dude too important. But anyway, yeah, so he gets mad at Invincible, and he opens up like hundreds of thousands of portals, and he lets out like different versions of Invincible. And it's like this, well, it's probably not that many, but I mean, honestly, shit, 10 or 20 Invincibles is bad enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially as strong as he currently is in the story, by the time this shit happened, like, this shit was epic, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know I was over exaggerating with the amount of Invincibles. Like I said, it was probably only like maybe like 20, 25, something like that. But that's still a big fucking deal. And you had all these heroes, they had to join together to fight against these multiple versions of Invincible. Now, it might have been more than that, because it was a lot of battles that was happening off screen as well. Because in the comic, what made it so awesome was it was like a combination. It was a crossover, a huge crossover event with so many other Image properties on the cover of Invincible, you know, the Invincible War. You got to see characters like Jackie Estacado, the Darkness, Sarah Pazzini, Witchblade, Al Simmons, Spawn. You got to see Savage Dragon. You got to see Wildcats. You got to see The Pit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so many iconic Image comic properties. They came together to fight against the multiple versions of Invincible. Now, the main question that people have been asking me, like I said at the beginning of this video, are they going to do it the same way in the show? Can they do it the same way in the show? I'm sorry, I strongly believe that they're going to make a lot of changes to the Invincible War. While the same events might happen leading up to it and that cause it, with Angstrom Levi being the, you know, the one that does it and everything, as far as the force that's going to be going against the Invincibles, the multiple Invincibles, I don't think they're going to be using all these other comic book characters. As cool as that would be to see, I think they have a lot of things that they have to probably go through as far as like legal and stuff like that to be able to have the rights to use all these other characters that they don't own to put in this particular event. You see, Robert Kirkman, he owns Skybound, and he owns Invincible, and he does own a lot of characters in the world of Invincible because he's responsible for creating a lot of them. But as far as characters from other comic books joining in for this big, huge event, I don't think it's going to happen like that. Now, what we could see is in the following seasons, Robert Kirkman, you know, leading up to this event, whether it happens in season 2 or season 3, we could see Robert Kirkman introduce a lot of other original characters that he created around the world of Invincible, like characters like Tech Jacket, characters like Brit, characters like the Astounding Wolfman, characters like Space Racer. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different characters they can introduce. Capes Incorporated. What's his name? The Iron Soviet or something. I always mix him up with Iron Patriot, but I don't want to make him sound like the Iron Patriot off of Iron Man. I cannot remember this guy's name to save my life, but he has a dope ass design and he's kind of like a mechanical Captain America / Iron Man or something. Pretty cool. I love his mullet. Bruh's dope as hell. But anyway, they could introduce these characters. Of course, like, you know, a couple more, you know what I'm saying, if they have more. But yeah, they can introduce Capes Incorporated, him, the other characters I named, Brit, Wolfman, Tech Jacket, Space Racer. These characters alone are enough and interesting to, you know, build stories around and stuff like that. But if you introduce them and, you know, characters that are attached to them, like maybe the whole wolf pack that Astounding Wolfman has, he has like an army of wolves that fuck with him and fight on his side. You know what I'm saying? Brit, of course, he ends up joining the Guardians of the Globe and pretty much leading them. You know what I'm saying? Because he's an OG, he's dope, he's a soldier, he's invulnerable, he can't die, shit like that. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like they could introduce all these characters and they can kind of like fill in the extra slots to make them an actual army like force with you know, like the wolf pack or the Reanimin that they kind of teased at the end of the season. We could have them also fill out the ranks, and, you know, with these other main characters and, you know, characters that we already know from the Invincible catalog. Like, they could do the best they can to make a sizable army force to kind of replace all of those comic book characters that we would have had, you know, in place of this, and have them go up against the multiple Invincibles and still have the same impact in the war, the same sacrifice that we're sadly going to get from a particular character that I absolutely love and I know a lot of people enjoyed, kind of hated, but I feel like gonna like a whole lot more when season 2 comes around, and probably season 3 if you last that long. But anyway, yeah, it's gonna be really fucking good and exciting. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I feel like if they were to change it around, that, in my opinion, is the best way they can go about it. It would still be entertaining. I'm pretty sure they would still get a great fight out of it, and they could still hit all the emotional beats and the natural story beats from the comic that they need to check off with this change. The only big major hit we will be taking is not seeing all these awesome characters working together to neutralize the threat. But other than that, I mean, I think it's still going to be entertaining. And for people who haven't read the comic, they're not going to know any better. But you know what? Like I always constantly say in these videos, the comic of Invincible is amazing and the show of Invincible is amazing. You need to experience both of them. They're like two sides of the same coin. Whatever the show doesn't have, the comic will have. So the show is probably going to have its own amazing version of the Invincible War. I have no doubt it is going to be sauce, and they're probably going to find a way to make it even better than it was in the comic book, similar to how they had the whole Nolan versus Mark fight, greatly improved and made more savage than the comic book version ever was. So they could do that with the Invincible War, and you know, in the show and the comic, if you want to see all those comic book characters working together, teaming up to take down multiple Invincibles, well, you got the comic book for that. So like I said, it's tit for tat, man. Whatever you want, Invincible got you on both fronts, bruh. But yeah, man, let me know what you think about this video. How do you think it will be done? And for those of you who know what happens right after the Invincible War, like literally seconds after, woo! I'm gonna talk about that next. But yeah, man, hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are. Like I said, let me know what you think about this video and how you think they might do the Invincible War. If you agree or like how I would do it, if I, you know what I'm saying, would switch it around, like, you know what I'm saying, do you agree with that? Would y'all do it differently? Yeah, hit the like button, the dislike button, you know what I'm saying, hit the bell to be notified for more videos like this one. Hit that link to the Discord for IDs, Invincible's Disciples. Join it. Let's keep the conversation for Invincible going and live. And also make sure to check us out on Facebook at Viltrumites Take Flight. Follow that group, man. We got a lot of stuff going on. We always post shit on there as much as we can. But yeah, man, see y'all next time. Hope y'all having a good one. And until next time, peace.